Yeah, does your girlfriend call up that she didn't like me over for beer? Yeah, uh, that's when that baseball foul pole on the scoreboard. Memorial service today. Yeah, I'll make sure. Thank you.
How come you guys put in for a grant and didn't tell us about it?
What grant?
You know what grant?
Well, that was done by the Region 6 and our engineer for the work that we need done out there. I'm not smart enough to know how to do a grant. So they're on board with that project and I don't count until the money's in the bank, Todd.
What'd you
At least Kathy won't let me count until the money's in the bank.
What'd you apply for?
It was it the economic? Yeah.
What's it? I mean, what are you using it for?
We're gonna put drainage in the parking lot in Railroad Street. We finally got all that from the bank. It's been a two-year process.
We didn't.
2-year
But
process.
see, on the, that's why I was surprised, because on a homeowner's policy.
I'm talking about the grant for tearing down the houses.
Oh, we haven't got that yet.
You're applying for it, though, right?
We tried, and Vince said we didn't qualify.
I wonder if that's for the.
Wow.
Because we didn't have everything in place for it yet.
I'm sorry, just 1 minute.
You guys we just started a fund for that, and we didn't have the funds in place. Plus, we don't have an abandoned house ordinance. We're in the process of getting that in
You know,
place.
on a homeowner's policy, automatically.
So that's what hurt us.
I don't think we have one either, so we gotta go. I told Vince, piggyback right on you.
Yeah.
I told Michael just change the name, but West Milford,
Well, that's
West Milford, one Lost Creek, throw it all in one time.
There's a lot of them.
Who's sponsoring that grant? Who's that for?
that was. Remember, I can't remember who it was through. State was doing it. They'd sent out, they'd sent out, Jim, they'd sent out some information that they needed filled out, approximately how many houses you had in the area, what you needed tore down, some other information. So I filled it all out. I sent it in thinking, okay, they get that information and the approximate cost of what it costs to tear down each house. Well, according to Vincent, we got a Cannon and Salem. Because we didn't have, one, we didn't have a financial in place for it, and number two, we didn't have any ordinance for what they had done.
That was the governor's office, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody.
Everybody does. Just young regulations.
There's a code. They're working on it. What's the name of that code thing going on? All right.
We're gonna call this meeting to order. I want to thank everybody for coming, all the new faces, old faces. This time we're gonna go around the table and introduce everybody, and so we know who all's here. You want to start with us, Stonewood? Oh, go ahead.
Jeff Edwards, City Manager, Salem.
Bobby Samples, Mayor, City of Salem.
Welcome, sir. Jim Sarango, Mayor Stonewood.
Jeff Barnhart, Recorder, West Milford.
When proposing council, and
Catherine Goldsmith, Recorder, Lost Creek.
Johnny Oliverio, Council, Lost Creek.
Dave Oliverio, Mayor of Lost Creek.
Annette Wright, City Clerk of Clarksburg and Recording Secretary to the Association.
Steve, please, that's our city manager for the city clerk.
Who are you?
Met you before?
No, I don't.
Susan Thomas, Harrison County Commission.
Wendy Maddox, representing Senator Manchin's office.
Amy Wilson, Harrison County Economic Development Corporation.
Terry Triplett with Treasurer's Office.
Okay, I'm Todd Summers, Mayor of West Milford. I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. And we'll start off with Senator Manchin's office.
Here we go. Thanks for letting me come in and listen, as I learned a lot from that. You may think, I might have met you directly in West Milford.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So I worked for Congressman McKinley before this, so if it kind of rings a bell, that's why. Same role, outreach, but it's for Senator Manchin's office. And I came a little too early, to be honest. The biggest push of information I'll have for you coming up is community funded projects. Congressman had always called them community funded project. They call them congressionally directed spending. And they will be putting a big push from the office to find projects that would be good for that. The only tip I sort of have right now is they are not really considering, shouldn't say not really considering, there's a lot of money out there for water projects and water and sewer development infrastructure money out there. So they're going to be looking at other projects for this round of funding. And what's that? Oh. So that's, but I'll come back for that one, or probably it'll be like individual effort, reach out to communities to figure out what projects you want to work on and what you want to submit. I also advise people when we talk about that it's really smart to coordinate that with Senator Capito's office as well, because you see a lot more projects get funded when both offices are in alignment on the project. So just to put that out there, it's good to do both. And then if there's any questions, I brought if there's like personal, private questions, like if you have a problem with IRS, I have a form, I can take it back, I can get someone to reach out to you. But if you have any questions for me, I have information, which you'll probably also be getting directly via email, but that Inflation Reduction Act had a lot of benefits for seniors in it that never made it to the mainstream. That IRA got really touted as a green energy bill, but there were also a lot of things in there to lower prescription drug pricing, offer free vaccines, and cut premiums for seniors. So that's what I have. Thank you.
How's Senator's earmark?
His process for it, they haven't announced it. I'll have to come back with that. They haven't right now. The last 2 weeks, they have targeted that Inflation Reduction Act information to go to seniors. So we're hitting every senior citizen center in every county in the first 2 weeks of the month. So I was in Preston today, I was in Lewis, I was in Upshur. I do Harrison County next week on Monday. I'm going to Preston tomorrow. So like with that, then after that gets done, that what I was told was the next big push will be to get the community funded project information out. So hoping by early March, I'll have that information for those projects. I just don't have it right now.
Well, we'd love to have you back.
Well, I'm really happy I got picked up doing basically the same job. So
That's a good thing sometimes.
It will. I really like the counties I worked with. I have Preston, Taylor, Tucker, Barber, and I really didn't want to give those up. So, and then I picked up Marion and Mon. So I'm a little behind in Marion and Mon. I don't know everything that they do. And then I also picked up Lewis, Upshur, and Randolph. So I have 11 counties. I have Dodgers.
They don't need anything. I got blame
well,
money.
yeah,
All that drilling going on up there, they're okay.
I had them when I was with McKinley's office, and so I still kind of, luckily the players really haven't changed over there, so I kind of know like what I need to do over that way. So, but any questions, there's my contact information. Please reach out for anything, any help.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay, thank you so much. Really appreciate you guys. We have the West Virginia Treasurer's Office. Terry Triplett.
Yes, thank you all for having me. I know some of you all have seen this before. I recognize a couple faces in the room. We've been making the push, going around the state, doing these trainings and informational meetings. So I have a little presentation to go over. It should take about 30, 45 minutes. But any questions you have while I'm talking, just speak up. You don't have to wait for me to finish or anything. I'll stop at a couple points and ask as well. So basically what we're going to go over today is the new legislation passed in 2021. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with this legislation by now, or at least I hope you are. This legislation was passed requiring basically all political subdivisions in the state to take payments online. There's the section of code you can find it in, 123A6. It's actually 123A6E is where it starts. Everything before E talks just about state agencies. So anything after E and on is talking about the local governments. I won't read you the actual language there, but I'll hit on basically what it's saying. So like I said, by March 1st, 2023, so that's now less than a month away, you have to accept payments online for everything you bring in. So every service, all revenue streams that you accept from citizens of the state, you have to have a way for them to process that payment online. Now you can meet this by any solution you want. I'll go over our solution, which is WV GoPay. There's some handouts, trifolds around. If you don't have one, there's some more up here you can grab, or I'll bring it to you after I'm done. But if you already have services that you're accepting payments online, or you find another third party or somebody that can offer you services, you're free to use them. You do not have to use our services. That was some information I was put out there in the beginning that was not correct. You do not have to use the Treasurer's Office services. Now, obviously, this is just an option. You can keep all your other forms of payments in place, check, cash, however else you do business. You can keep those in place. This is just an option on top of that. Now, as stated, every revenue stream you have by law has to have a way for you to accept it online. However, there is an exemption process. Now, if you have a certain, it's unlikely that you would be exempted as a whole. So we're not going to exempt your city as a whole. But if you have specific revenue streams that do not make sense to move online, you can request an exemption from the Treasurer's Office. We've been getting a lot of those lately. I have 50 sitting in my office right now to review. So there's a lot of those coming in. Those all get reviewed by executive staff and basically approved based on the information submitted. To submit an exemption, you have to send us a letter on your letterhead. Easiest way is to email it to that WV GoPay address that's on the trifold there. Just email us a letter listing your revenue streams you're asking for exemption from, the reason why, and then we also need a copy of your last financial statement. So some of the reasons why we are granting exemptions, so if the payment does require the person to be there in person, things like concealed weapons permits, because they require the person to be there to identify them, do fingerprint, background check. A lot of the schools, we're doing things like concession stands, and then also anything you bring in a very low dollar amount a year. So if you only bring in a few $1,000s a year for a certain revenue stream, that may also be a reason. There's no reason to go through a process and set that up for only a few $1,000s. So you just send us that letter along with your financial statement. We will review it and respond when we get to them. But like I said, there is a lot of those coming in, and that process is slow because they have to go through executive staff. They're of course in session right now, so they're a little busy. But send those in and we will get you a response back. Any questions about the law itself or the exemption process before I move on to our actual services that we offer? Okay. So WV GoPay, you may have seen it around. This is the system that we set up at the Treasurer's Office for online payments. So after this legislation was passed, they came to us at Treasurer's Office. We've had an online system in place for over 15 years for state agencies. So if you've ever made a payment online, maybe your child's tuition to a university, hunting and fishing license, DMV license, anything basically that you paid online to a state agency, you've likely gone through the Treasurer's Office eGov system. So we co-opted that and made the GoPay system. It works a little differently because you're not us. State agencies were one unit. You are a third party to us. But nonetheless, we built the system in conjunction with our vendor. Now, it was set up as an online payment processing system to meet the legislation, but we also have the ability to do in-person credit card payments if you want to. So if you want to set up in-person credit card payments to accept those in your office, we can do that as well. It runs through the same system as the online, so your reporting and everything's through one system. You don't have to go to multiple systems to pull that information. Our system can accept both credit card and ACH or bank transfer. Now, this is something I want to hit on because this is a question I get a lot. Nothing in this legislation is stating you have to take credit card payments. That is something that got out there. I don't know how it did, but a lot of people ask this. You do not have to take credit card payments. All it's stating is you have to take payments online. And what online means, that customer can go on their computer or smartphone, pull up a browser, make a payment. That's not you entering payments online in your office. That's not them calling you on the phone, reading you a credit card number of the phone. That's them essentially doing that without interacting with you. So our system can do credit card and ACH. By default, we set them both up for you, but you do not have to accept one or the other if you do not want to. You can accept just credit cards or just bank transfers, and I'll go over that when we talk about cost. There's a big cost difference, and there's also a difference in processing, a reason you might want to only do one. Now, when we set this up, you are considered the merchant of record. What that essentially means is we do not touch your money. This money will flow directly to your bank account. The state does not touch your money at all. We do not take it and then transfer it to you. The money is actually the ACHs. Credit cards are settled to your bank account. We can hit whatever bank account you want. If you have multiple different what we call payment pages, you can point all those at a different bank account. I'll caveat that with the fact that the auditor's office would like for you to set up a clearing or settlement account. I know a lot of you already have something like that, but they want to see one account where all your money flows into, and then you can divvy it up to your operating accounts after the fact. That's not a requirement, but that's what I think it makes their jobs easier when they come to do the audit. That's what they would like to see. Now, when we interact with your customer, the way we set it up, we really have three different ways to set up payments online. The first one you see there, third-party interfacing. We have not had a local government use this yet. We do this a lot with state agencies. But essentially what this is if you had a third-party customer-facing application, some kind of account management system where a customer could log in, pull up their account, see how much they owe you, that system can integrate with our payment processor. And then, so basically, customer interacts with your system, sees how much they owe, it passes them to us, we'll accept the payment information, process the payment, pass the customer back to your system and update that system telling it this customer made a successful payment, please update their account. That's all done seamlessly online. The customer really doesn't know they're being transferred around. It's all done within a couple seconds online. So if you have a system like that, we will provide that programming team with our technical documentation. Our programming staff will get on calls with them, walk them through that process on how to do that integration. It's not a hard integration. However, the reason we don't see that a lot with local governments is if you do have a system like that and they have the ability to pass you to a payment processor, they're going to want to use their payment processor or whoever their vendor is because they're making a little bit off of that as well. So it's unlikely they'll want to build to us, but nonetheless, that is available. The next two are the ones we are setting up. We have been setting up a lot of pages lately. We've actually set up 60 in the past couple of months. So this is moving really fast. Obviously, law's coming up. But the prepayment questionnaire page is our basic setup. For lack of a better word, it's an online form. So we build a form to your specifications. You tell us, what information you want to capture from the customer. They click a URL. It takes them to our page. They start entering that data. We do text boxes, drop-down lists, radio lists, that kind of information. I would show you some examples, but I'm not connected to the internet right now. But if any of you all have any questions after this, I can jump on Teams meeting, go through some examples. Or you can go to that wvgopay.com. There's 4 tabs at the top. One of them says make a payment. Click on that one. You'll see payment pages we've already set up for different entities. You can go in there and see how they work. So that online form, it captures that information from the customer. The way we determine how much they're paying you, because you're not passing us any data. All we need from you is basically what you want to capture. They're blank slate forms. We build them to your specifications. And the way we determine how much they're paying you is one, if everybody pays the same, we just lock that page down to that dollar amount. If you have drop-down lists, so where customers are making specific choices in that page, we can build certain dollar amounts to those choices. So they select something, it charges them that amount. And then the third one, and the one that's actually most used, is just a text box where the customer enters how much they want to pay. If they enter $100, it's going to charge them $100 at checkout. The third one, data importing and exporting. This works in conjunction with the payment pages or the payment questionnaire page, but this is where you're actually going to feed us data. So you have some kind of accounting system on your side. Say we do this with like Dunbar PSD. Some PSDs do this. They have a account management system on their side. It tracks customer accounts, how much they owe. They export that data from that system. We'll set you up with a secure FTP server on your computers. Our IT will help you get that set up. It's just a secure folder that you'll log into. In that folder, there'll be 2 folders, a to STO and a from STO folder. You would upload that data into the to STO folder. Our system will now pull that data in. So when the customer clicks the URL, they're going to be taken to a data validation screen. The data we need from you at minimum, we need a unique identifier, some sort, account number, invoice number, citation number, something along those lines, customer name, amount they owe. You can give us any other data you want. Customer clicks on or enters that unique identifier. It's going to populate their name and say, is this you? They say yes. then it transfers them to the payment questionnaire page and autofills the information from your file. So it's going to autofill the fields that you want to show them. We can open that up and add extra fields so they can enter more information. We can lock it down to charge them the amount you say they owe, or we can open it up so they can partially pay you or overpay you if you want to allow that. Every day you receive payments, so you receive payments today. Tomorrow morning, you're going to have a file in that From STO folder with all your payment records. Excuse me, sorry. We can meet any, the export file can meet any standards you want. So if you have a certain system that requires a text file, let's say, to upload that data to, we can meet that. We just need to know those specifications for the export file, and we can build it to your specs. By default, it'll come in the same CSV or Excel file formatting that you sent us the data. But if you need something else, we will meet that. For the basic prepayment questionnaire pages and for anything else that we set up, you're going to have access to all the reporting systems you need. You'll get 2 from us. One's a financial reporting system. Very simple and easy to use. You can go up and look up single payments, issue refunds with a couple clicks of the button. It'll refund the money back to the customer's credit card or bank account, depending on how they made a payment. We also have standard reports that are already pre-built for you. And then we have a customer reporting system, and that's where you're going to go run a report to pull in the data that the customer entered into that prepayment questionnaire page. It just comes in a standard CSV file. Each question would be a column. So one column first name, one column last name, column address, with the corresponding answer in each customer in a row. So very easy. A lot of our customers then build that into some kind of mail merge or something if they want it in the form format. Like I said, I usually would show an example, but I don't have the internet set up here. But if you want to see examples, go to wgopay.com or reach out to us at the email address on those trifolds. We'll set up a little demonstration for you. All right, before I talk about everybody's favorite topic, which is money, any questions about how we set this up? Oh,
Question.
Yep.
So I know that with us, I know we're a small town. But I know that we were told that, you have to upload every account every month. So they're finding that that is very time consuming. Is there any way to make that faster or easier?
So if you're doing the data importing and exporting, uploading data to us, all the data we're going to have in our system is just whatever the last file you uploaded to us. Now, we do have customers that have IT support on their side, and they build auto jobs that essentially pulls the data from their systems, uploads it, pulls the data from our systems, and uploads it into their system every day automatically. But that's going to have to be done on your side.
Okay, because they find it's very time consuming.
To upload the data?
Yeah, it's taking a long, yeah. That's the biggest complaint from the girls in the office.
Yeah,
So, it actually makes more work.
Yes.
It actually, because we were under the impression this was supposed to be really nice and easy, and it's actually,
Simplify.
yeah, simplified, and it's actually just making more work. At the.
So what issues are they having with uploading the data?
I don't know. I just
Okay.
know that that's what the reporter was telling me, that they were like, it's just, I don't know, maybe we don't know the system and we don't have my new system. But anyway, I was just wondering if is there any easier way? Is there any particular system that's better than another system?
We deal with we don't know what systems a lot of these entities are using on their side because we're not actually integrated with them. We're not interacting with them. We don't have, technical resources into those systems. So we don't know what they're using. I know we use a few entities that use QuickBooks, and they had to buy a higher level of QuickBooks,
Right.
but they export the data from it, take our file and upload it. And so once they uploaded it, it credits all the customers in their account. But as far as uploading the data, basically on our side, you're just giving us a file, but I don't know what you're having to do before you give us that
I
file.
just know that they said it just takes.
I do have a question. I may
Yes.
be far out and I'm not that computer literate, but if we don't use WGO Pay, can we use our local bank system or?
I mean, if your local bank system offers some kind of way to build, I mean, you're gonna have somebody that's gonna set up payment pages or some kind of system online where the customer can go in and make.
Yeah, so we just don't have IT people in Lost Creek that is.
Yeah, we're an extremely small
Yeah.
town.
I understood.
Our clerk and recorder is the same person.
Yeah, Kathy does it all, does it all pretty much.
I mean,
And
personally-
Kathy and Joni helps, but I don't,
A lot of banks do have either they have a system they can set up for you, or they have contracts, agreements with third-party entities out there that can do that.
At our cost.
And that's what I don't know what those kind of things would
Yeah.
cost
And see,
you.
this is why we went with this, because it was free.
Yeah.
But we started ours probably a year ago.
Yeah, you're all on the first.
Yeah, we were on really fast information.
maybe we need your all's help.
Well, yeah,
But with your issue, I would say, I don't know what they're doing before.
Right.
And to make those files, but we could do away with the file import and just do one of those basic payment pages if you wanted to handle it that way, where you wouldn't have to feed us any data, but then the customer would basically have to enter how much they're gonna pay. But we could do it that way if you find it more difficult, and that way you wouldn't need to send us anything, you would just start taking payments, you would just have to run the reports on the back end to find out who paid you. So that's an option. But I would talk to your bank, see what they have to offer.
Mhm.
The cost structure I'm about to go under, a lot of third parties offer similar, now the cost might be more to your customers, but they offer similar cost structures to lower the cost to you as an entity.
So basically what it is, it's a system that the customer can go in, pay through their computer with their credit card or their debit card, and it talks to our computer system. It says, hey,
It won't talk.
or
your
it talks to
computer.
the third-party system.
Well, in ours, it processes through our system.
Mhm.
We have a processor on the back end, but all they're doing is processing credit card payments. All the data captured and everything's on our side. And then you'll have access to our systems to go run your reports, pull in who paid, see who paid you what, and what they paid for.
Yeah, I'm trying to simplify it for myself here.
It's not as difficult as it sounds once you get up and running. Now, like she said, they're having the issues with the uploading of the reports, but actually running reports on our side, accepting payments is not too difficult to.
Yeah, we wouldn't be accepting payments like you are with sewage and water
yeah, we have sewage, water.
and all that stuff. Ours is very
police.
basic, so we would dumb it down.
Well, you've got building permits,
Yeah,
and you've got,
B&O.
being a, yeah.
B&O, that's what I was looking for.
Yeah,
So,
we've set up some building permits, B&Os for other entities. I'll tell you, I probably shouldn't tell you this, but one of the things, we have a couple entities that have figured out basically how to get past this in the simplest way possible. They build one page, they have a comment box where the customer tells them what they're paying for and how much they're paying. And then that handles everything. That's probably not the best way to manage it on your side, but if you don't take very many payments at all, that we have a couple entities that just did it that way. Yeah, most of our entities set up multiple payment pages for the specific type of payment page for B&O, water and sewer, different pages set up, dog fees, that kind of stuff. They'll have those different kind of pages set up.
Thank
All
you.
right, no problem. Any other questions? All right, so let's talk about the cost. So the good news or the bad news is we can set this up at little to no cost to you, or really no cost to you at all, but your customers are paying your fees. Us, the treasurer's office, we do not charge anything for our services. We are doing all this work for free. We're not making any money off of it or charging you for our time. The fees basically boil down to the credit card processing fees. If you've ever been a merchant that accepts credit cards, maybe in your private life or something, you understand credit cards are expensive to accept. You pay Walmart $100 your credit card, they're not getting $100. They're paying a few percentage to their vendor. So up there at the top, we have really two fee structures you can utilize, but the managed service fee model is the one we recommend. This is the simplest one. Basically what it is your customer is going to be charged a fee at the time of payment or at the time of checkout. So the fee range is between 2.35 to 2.75%. Most of you are going to be at that 2.75%. The way they determine the fee is if you already take credit cards for these services, so maybe you take them in-house, Our vendor would ask you for your current interchange data. If you don't know what that is, it's basically all your cards, volumes, different kind of cards that people use through yours. Your current vendor should be able to provide that. They would review that and give you a fee in that range. Even people that have been providing that are getting 2.65 because when this fee was negotiated was back in 2021, and I don't know if you're all familiar with something that's happened the past couple of years called inflation. It's hit interchange cost as well. Luckily, they're locked into a top fee as 2.75%. But you're going to get stuck anywhere, 2.6, 2.75%. If you don't have the data, you'll be at 2.75%. The customer gets charged this at checkout. So they pay you $100 at checkout. It's going to add $2.75 to their fee. They pay, vendor gets $2.75, you get $100. Everybody's made whole. You will not receive any invoices for anything at all. That covers your costs, period. Yes.
Do they know that they're going to pay that fee?
Yes, it tells them clearly at the time of payment that you are charged a 2.75% fee for $2.75, and then shows them the total of $102.75. That is actually a card brand rule. You have to display that. If you do it in person, it'll also add the fee as well. It'll be clearly displayed on the device. You can also put a little, pamphlet or something, piece of paper taped on your desk that says they'll be charged it so they clearly understand. So, like I said, clean and easy. You get what you're owed, vendor gets what they're owed. You're not billed. You don't have to worry about the cost. The second fee structure we have there is state agency rate. So this is called the state agency rate because that's what we pay in all the state agencies. By law, there's a state law that says we cannot let vendors take money off the top. They have to bill everything in arrears. So we're not allowed to use the managed service fee. I would love to. It would make my life easier. But we can't do that by law. There is no law that points to you that says that. We've talked to our lawyers, we've talked to the auditor's office lawyers, we talked to everybody that looked through it. There is no law unless you have a local ordinance that says you cannot. There is no law that states you cannot do the managed service fee. State agency rate. So you see the fee is a little lower. So the rate 1.7% for Visa, MasterCard, Discover, or 2.25% for American Express. However, there now is per transaction fees. So Visa, MasterCard, and Discover is 15 cents. That actually gets bumped up to 24 because you see that third bullet point, they add 8.5 cents for gateway and tokenization fees. Can't charge half a cent, so they round that up to 9. So you're looking at 1.7 plus 24 cents a transaction for Visa, MasterCard, Discover, or 2.25 plus 14 cents a transaction for American Express. With the state agency rate, you can charge a fee to the customer or you cannot. That's up to you. You get to pick what the fee is now. The vendor does not choose that for you. You can pick anything up to 4%, but you can't make a profit on it. So you would really have to look at your numbers, determine what fee. We can help you go through those if you can provide us that data and settle on a fee. But instead of that fee going to our vendor at the time of payment, that fee now comes to your bank account. You'll have to sit on it, reconcile it, hold it till the end of the month, and use it to pay your monthly invoice. So clearly some months you're probably going to come in over, some months you're probably going to come in under. That's a lot dirtier, a lot more work on your side. That's why, if you can, we strongly recommend the managed service fee. Makes it so much easier for everybody involved. Finally, we have the ACH or bank transfers. Those are free. No cost to your customer, no cost to you. However, if it gets returned, so like a bounced check, then there's a $15 fee per return.
On them.
On you.
Oh.
Because you're our customer. We don't have any dealings with them, so we have no legal right to charge them.
Okay.
We will charge you. Now, most of the entities we deal with will then turn around and put it on their customer.
Okay.
Yes, but we have no interaction with your customers. We will charge you. That invoice will come directly from the treasurer's office, and then you would have to pay us. Now, ACH and credit cards work differently, the reason for return. So credit card will settle in your bank account in 3 days. But as soon as the customer hits pay and it says that payment's confirmed, we know you will get that money in 3 days. It's coming. We know that. ACH settles in your bank account in 2 days, so it's 1 day quicker. However, when they hit pay, We don't know if that payment's good. So they hit pay, they give us an account number, routing number, we create a file, send it to the bank the next day. Once the bank gets that file, they may say, well, this account number's wrong, or this customer did not have money in their account to cover the charge. Now that payment gets returned. So that's one of the reasons we do have a good amount of customers that choose not to do ACH, because they don't want to go back in and back out payments. But that's really your decision. You know, as government entities, it's not like we're really delivering a lot of physical goods, so you don't have to go collect that physical good from the customer or something like that. It's just about accounting, backing that customer back out, and then telling them, hey, your payment got returned, you need to pay again. But that is obviously up to you. Now, utilities. So utilities are a little bit more difficult. Utilities fall under a special rule with card brands, unfortunately. You cannot use a managed service fee for utilities. They have to do the state agency rate, and you can't charge a variable rate fee. You have to charge a flat dollar amount fee. Unless you commingle your utilities with city funds. So if the bank account that this money flows into is the same bank account that your other city fees, so B&O taxes and stuff, flow into, we can designate that account as a city fee account or a government account, and you can do the managed service fee. If you have a separate bank account for your utilities, then that account will get dubbed a utility account, and you'll have to go with the flat dollar amount and the state agency rate. So if you can commingle them, I recommend it, although I know a lot of you, they operate a little independently. With the cities that run their own city water and sewer, they commingle it, but a lot of these PSDs operate independently of the city. So, any questions about the cost? I got a lot of frowns and shaking of the heads while I was going through these costs. There's a lot of cost fees. Basically, what you got to know for most of your stuff, we can do it for free for you. Your customer's just going to pay at checkout. Any questions? All right. So that is basically the most important part of my presentation. We've gone through the law, we've gone through the GoPay and the cost. A couple other quick hits to go on. So when you sign up with us, you would sign a participation agreement with our vendor. Our vendor is Huntington Merchant Services. They utilize a company called Fiserv, previously called First Data, as their processor. You'll be dealing with Fiserv. You won't really be talking to anybody from Huntington Bank or Huntington Merchant Services. But when you sign up with us, there are other offerings on our contract besides the services I just went over. No one has really utilized any of them, but they're there. You have access to our full contract. You're basically piggybacking off the state's contract. Don't worry, you're not locked into the term of our contract or anything like that. You can back out at any time. It just basically says while you're using the services, you agree to these fees. Some of the services they offer, a couple of the big ones there, ERP tools. They can build you a full ERP system for your city. Invoice presentment tools. So this is where it would record how much you owe, send out invoices to customers. All these are subject to different costs, and they are expensive, but they're available. Gift cards. They can also set up a gift card type solution. If you want to offer gift cards or something, we can set up a closed loop gift card solution as well. One of the big things they can offer is credit card terminals. I mentioned that we can set up in-person credit card payments through the GoPay system. Those terminals are like the one you see there on the top left, just your basic credit card terminal, plugs in the wall via Ethernet. You would use your computer, pull up a payment page, collect information from a customer, hit swipe card, pings the device, customer pays with their credit card. We also have other credit cards on our contract. These would not go through GoPay, however. So you would have a separate system to manage these. The one on the top right are your old school analog phone line terminals. We're one of the only states that still utilize these. We had to get these on our contract for Division of Natural Resources. A lot of their locations do not have good internet service, so they have to go with the old school analog. So if you have a location that needs that, we have those available. But I'd say get with us soon because I think they're quitting making those. So you would want to get on the list to get those delivered soon. Finally, at the bottom, we have Clover devices. Clover is the latest and greatest when it comes to credit card processing machines. They're essentially smart devices with the ability to accept payments. These devices have their own app store in them, just like your iPhone might, with a lot of financial apps you can download. They're very popular, quick service, food service. A lot of restaurants are using these now. The small one you see down there in the bottom left, it's like a giant cell phone. That's a mobile device, can work off cellular service. We've worked with a couple cities that have like parks and rec, and they purchase some of those to use at their parks. Other entities that like pools and they want to accept credit card payments at their pool or something, they purchase those kind of devices. The cheapest device we have on our contract is this little one. You may be familiar with the old Square devices. These pair with your phone. You would download an app on your phone. Those are only $50. The phone speaks to the credit card terminal via Bluetooth and takes payments that way. But you would have to have an iPhone or iPad on your side to be able to use that. This slide right here, this is a vendor slide. Basically, you're going to get a whole host of people on our vendor that can help you. However, if you have any issues, just reach out to us. We will get them involved if they need to be involved. If you do have terminals, some of the phone numbers and contacts you may want to take account are like after hours terminal support. But I know a lot of us don't work that much late. But if you were and your credit card terminal wasn't working, you can reach out to them. They have 24/7 support lines. All right. Finally, one thing I want to hit on. Please, your eyes are probably going to glaze over while I'm talking about this. Please do not worry. It is not as difficult as it sounds. I'll try to make it sound easy. Payment card industry data security standards. These are the security rules and regulations credit card brands require all merchants to follow. This is to try to protect customer card data. This is very serious, but we make it very simple. The way they determine that you're following their rules is you self-assess. You have to do what's called a self-assessment questionnaire yearly. Through our vendor, we have a portal that you can go in there and fill out your SAQ. I will get on a call and walk you through that process. The first time you do that, it'll save your answers and use those the next year. It takes about 15, 20 minutes to go through once a year. That is if you're taking payments how we recommend. So online, the customer's going online. They're not coming in your office and getting on a computer and doing it. And for in-person, you're using a certified P2PE device, which all ours that we offer are. What gets people into trouble is if you take payments over the phone. So if a customer is calling you and reading their credit card number to you over the phone, now that phone number is on your that credit card number is on your network. So they're going to know the security posture of your network. They're going to try to hack you on a quarterly basis to uncover any vulnerabilities and give you those reports to fix. So it gets much more difficult if you start taking payments over the phone. Our recommendation, don't do phone payments. If somebody calls you and wants to pay over the phone, you direct them to your online page. You have them pay there. Takes care of two issues, gets you out of the risk of taking credit card numbers. And also now, hopefully they don't have to call you in the future because they know how to go and make a payment themselves.
So
Sorry.
So this questionnaire that we need to fill out once a year, is that automatically sent to us in an email? Or
You should.
do we have,
You all should have received, now you're one of our first entities, so they may
Right,
have not
yeah,
set you all up with this, but you should have received an email. Look through your emails from Clover.
Okay.
It would have been Clover Security.
Okay.
They should have sent you a welcome email with login credentials to go in and do this. And like I said, the first time you do it, just call me. I'll get on a Teams call. We'll share screens, and I'll walk you through that process.
Okay.
But if you don't have that, let us know,
Okay, I'll ask.
and I'll have them send you that welcome email.
Okay, I have a business and I do 90% of my credit card payments over the phone.
Yep.
Mine is a web-based program that I use a 2-factor plus authorization to get into.
Yes.
And it's very simple. I go to the portal, put in the credit card number, the person's name, the CV, easy peasy. It seems to me with the technology of this program, there should be an easier way for the smaller towns.
We can set you up with a secure way to enter payments in your computer. The problem is your computer itself. So no matter what you're logging into your computer, how they have security to get into it, if somebody has access to your network, they could read what's on your computer. So technically, we have noticed that we talk to some merchants and people that they don't do this. You're putting yourself at risk. If somebody gets access to your network, no matter how secure it is to log into it, if they have access to your computer, they will still be able to read credit card numbers. So it considers your network in scope. And then when you're in scope, then the PCI compliance gets more difficult. We can set you up with encrypted keypads on your computer. So you're typing the number in, it tokenizes it before it puts it into your web browser. But the phone payment itself is also on your network, because those phone lines for most everybody today is voice over internet protocol. So it's an internet phone line. So even if it's super secure entering it in, you're encrypting it before it gets to your computer. If they have access to your network, they can listen into calls and steal credit card information that way.
I just think it's just a lot of.
It is. PCI compliance it's a lot. We deal with this every year. We spend a lot of money to make sure we are secure. We have set it up for a way for you to make this as easy as possible. But it is not something to shake your head at. It's very serious. Most of us get by fine, but when something happens, it's going to be a big issue. Our merchant will come in, the credit card brands will come in, do a full audit. They get to hire the auditor. You have to pay for it. And then the reputational hit as well. Plus, you would have to pay for any damages that occur and the lawsuits and everything else that follow. Yeah. So, but like I said, you use our services, they're secure, you do them without the phone payments, and you're not at risk. No credit card data is touching your network at all. So they could hack you all day, they're never gonna see a credit card number. All right. Any questions? Yes.
You mentioned Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
Like a pool.
Yeah.
Or concessions. That would be a credit card purchase more than likely. Right? Is that what
Yeah,
you're
well,
referring to?
the pool's concession stands, by the law, technically you'd have to have a way for them to pay online, but we're gonna exempt
Parks
that.
and Rec, I thought about our county.
Yeah.
But I thought about our Parks and Rec. I bet I don't even want to go there.
No, we can, those would be exempted. Those are something that somebody's coming there in person to either, swim at the pool, to take ownership of something,
So
a
do
concession
they have to
stand.
be able to-
No, nothing in the law states you have to take credit cards. That's why I mentioned at the beginning.
You have to apply for an exemption, right?
You would have to apply for an exemption for
Yeah.
those though. Yeah, just have them send the letter and say, we're looking for exemption for our Parks and Recs.
I mean, ours, we don't have all that, but they do rent the building.
Yeah. And the rent the building, if it's very low dollar amounts a year, that'd be another reason why
How low is our-
we've been exempting stuff that's basically 5,000 and below.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
How long does it take to get set up?
So minimum amount of time is 4 weeks, but our vendor has been taking more like 5 or 6. The time really right now is depending on it's the boarding process. So you fill out the paperwork with us, we take it, we submit it to our vendor, they start boarding. We will do the work with you on our side, get your payment pages built, get everything set up on our side. So when they create your processing account, we'll connect our payment pages to that account, and then you can go live at that point.
So,
There's other vendors that they could go with, right?
They can go with anyone they want. You do not have to use us. There's a lot of service providers out there.
Courthouse fee is various.
Yeah, there's a lot of different providers out there. There's some that are based in the state. One of the big companies that does this is like West Virginia Interactive, or now they're Tyler Technologies.
Not that I want to take business away.
But we're not making a dime off of it. So we offer this literally pro bono. So you won't hurt our feelings if you don't use our services. I will tell you, a lot of those other providers out there, it's more expensive.
What's the penalty if we don't have this ready by March 1st?
We are not the enforcement arm. The auditor's office is the enforcement arm. It'll be part of your yearly audit. It would be a finding on your audit. However, for the first year, as long as you can prove that you're in the process getting this set up, you're going to be okay. They're not going to hit anybody with findings this first year unless you just haven't done anything on it. But if you're in the process, you've been talking with us, you're trying to get it set up, then they're going to give you the clear that first year.
These two were on the phone the other day, and I don't know how far they got with it.
We don't either.
I mean,
With us,
who were you talking to, with GoPay or?
We called so many people.
yeah, we can, I mean, if it was us on the phone, then we would have sent you the paperwork after the call. So you should have that. You can fill it out, send it in.
We're ready. We're almost ready to submit it.
Okay, once you submit it, we submit it to our vendor, we'd start working with you to get these payment pages built. Basically, all you would need to tell us, if you're just wanting to do a basic payment page, is what you want to collect from the customer before they make a payment, and we will build those for you.
Now, did you say we can take credit cards and bank cards?
Credit cards
Or
and
just
bank transfer.
cards?
So when I say credit cards, that's all cards. Credit cards, debit cards, bank cards, it'll process all those, but we also do bank transfers. So where a customer enters their account and routing number instead of a credit card number, they pay you that way. Any other questions?
We might get there eventually.
Hey, I tell you what, you're ahead of most. Okay? We've been setting up a lot lately. Like I said, I mean, we have boarded about 40 entities in the past 3 months. It's getting up there. But, we'll work with you. We'll get it set up. It sounds like a lot. It sounds very difficult. It's not that much once you actually get it set up. Once you get it set up, people click a link, they enter information, make a payment, you run a report on the back end, pull that in. Okay? All right, thanks. Everybody's super happy. I got a lot of cheers and smiles during my presentation. The legislatures, I'm not getting it. Talk to your local representatives, and I'm just trying to set it up.
I have nothing in this.
You sure? I don't turn around. You're my local representative.
So that sounds like another Zoom call, Susan.
Okay, moving right along. We have the Harrison County Economic Development Corporation update.
Can I say one thing? I'm going to head out,
Yes, sir.
but the trifolds are there. So, reach out to us. Anybody wants to talk to us, reach out to us. We'll go through anything you want, and we'll help you get set up.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Terry.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I don't know what- It's okay. You got an IT person. Thank you. We have to take advantage, I think, for the last 3 years. Water and sewer.
Or do you want one again?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
That's yes.
So this is where.
All right, so I think most of you know who we are. I think there's a few new faces. So we are designated by the County Commission and the State Economic Development Office as the lead economic entity for Harrison County. We've got cards here too, I'll pass those around if anybody that wants those. But what you have in front of you is just a little bit of who we are, some of the things that we've done over the past just couple years. We didn't go all the way back. So just for the new ones, some of the things that we do, anything that has to do with economic development. It's probably the easiest way to say it. In the beginning, I think when they looked at creating the corporation, let's look at large industry, manufacturing only, and have the chamber do the small business. It doesn't work that way in West Virginia. Really, economic development means everything. It means your local coffee shops, it means a grocery store, it means MHIRJ, Aurora, it means your business offices downtown, it means everything that has to do with economic development. So then we had to shift gears a little bit and look at the bigger picture. Let's look at the companies that we have here, businesses that we have here. Let's find out what their needs are. We have to look at retaining the ones that we have. We have to look at helping the ones that we have expand. We had to look at bringing in new ones. So that included additional goals. And then we had to look at some of the reasons why they're not expanding, why they're not moving here. So we had to look at marketing. So we're going to market the area. What do we have to market? We had to look at all of our assets. We'd look at all our communities. We had to start building. A lot of stuff's already here. It was putting it together in a nice package and just selling it. So then as we're selling it and as the companies are locked in, and thankful to the state of West Virginia, their Economic Development Division, they have really been killing it over the past 3 years. They have been selling West Virginia left and right. It's been amazing for all of us to be partners with them. We've been on trade shows, we've been to Germany, we've been to Japan. We've locked in contracts with Mitsubishi, with Aurora, which is now Boeing, has 6 buildings that are located here. We have buildings that are being sold and turned over in the communities. We've got a lot of green space and land that they're starting to look at. RFIs that we are applying for, and those are requests for information. Some of those actually go to RFPs, which are requests for proposals. Those are very, very detailed requests on exactly what they want to see. For example, would be a building. You've got a company. We want West Virginia, we want Maryland, we want Pennsylvania, we know an area, kind of a region we want to be in. So sell us your area. We have to have 20,000 square feet. We have to have certain ceiling heights. We have to have, let's say, loading docks. We have to be within 3 miles of the interstate. So certain requirements that we have. We immediately go through our inventory. So it's a lot of what Luis does. Luis puts together an inventory. Used to be just Harrison County, but we found out that our surrounding counties, because I'm the regional rep for Region 6 for the EDC, the Economic Development Council for the state, if we don't have it, then we want to make sure that somebody here in West Virginia does. We reach out to Marion County, Lewis County. What's your inventory? What do you have? What can we submit? 50,000 square foot buildings are a little bit harder. 100,000 square foot buildings are really, really hard. But since COVID, it actually started 2 or 3 months into COVID, the requests, and they tripled, and they did not stop. So we have gotten, I'm not sure how many since January, we had the number today, so many requests for just RFPs, RFIs, and we don't want to miss any of them. We want to make sure that we submit on every single one. Now, of course, if they're asking for a 270,000 square foot building with 50 acres, we can't comply. So that's one of the ones we're going to have to pass. If they're asking for 30 vacant or greenlands acres within a 10-mile radius, 3-mile radius, we can do that. We're going to go through everything that we have. We're going to reach out to Marion County, Doddridge County, Lewis County. What all do you have so we can make sure that we submit as many as we can to get them to land in West Virginia and not Maryland, not in Pennsylvania. So in doing some of those, as we're submitting, let's say we make it to the second round. Second round would be, okay, we like this. We want to meet with you again, we want more information. So if we are to locate there, they really don't ask for incentives next. We thought that they would. Incentives are not what they ask for. They want to know if we are to locate, some of the building costs that we would have, and where would we live? What's your quality of life? What's your health care? So in building that marketing package, we realized, okay, that's another goal for us. Now, economic development includes being part of the healthcare system, being involved in making sure that we have all the right numbers, which we didn't for the longest time. West Virginia, and it still is, we are bottom when it comes to healthcare. Not with our hospitals, not with our specialties, but when it comes to obesity, heart rate, drugs, anything like that, our numbers are low, very, very low. High, depending on how you're looking at those, but they're negative. They're really, really negative. So Healthy Harrison was created. So now we're doing podcasts. We're getting information out. We're reaching out to each of the communities. They each have their own healthcare group based on Healthy Harrison itself, partnered with WVU Medicine, partnered with UHC. So now when we go back to these companies and they're saying they've done their own due diligence. So we can't hide any of this. We can't say we have amazing health here in West Virginia. They know we don't, but we can come back and say we're working on it, and this is what we're doing. Quality of life, we have, and it's finding out exactly what we have. For so long, each of the communities had, certain things that we would do, but you had people that lived in the community that hadn't even taken advantage of it. Something as simple as just a kayak dock that we talked about last night in Stonewood. Something really simple for that community actually goes on a bigger list. So if you are someone that's really into kayaking, they don't want one little dock. They don't want to go to just Stonewood. That's for the people that live there. They don't want to go just to Shinsta. That's a nice little place. They want to see all of them. They want to see that every single community has something going on. If it's a rail trail, every single community is linked to that in some way. Every community has a niche. So if they are going to come and stay here, this is where quality of life, okay, we can put a company here. Workforce, another huge component. In the beginning, I had a board that said that's not for us to work on. That's for other communities, other agencies, other organizations. Let them handle workforce. 5 years in, we absolutely have to be focused on workforce. We have to grow our population, we have to train our population, we have to get the ones that aren't working back to work. And it means us brainstorming resources, working with communities, working with other counties. What can we do to build the population, to build the workforce, train the workforce? So when a company does want to land here, which they do, then we have the 300 employees that they're looking for. We have the 5 employees that they're looking for. We can train the 15 employees that they have, anything like that. So that's pretty much what we do in a nutshell, and it was a lot of information. I think a lot of you already know. We had an update last night to Stonewood. We would love to come to each of your communities. Specifically, what we need from you is your inventory. We need your needs, what you're looking for, what you would like to see in your community, what your assets are, and really your building and land inventory to make sure that when we do reply to any of these RFIs, we have updated information and we hit every single thing that we have. Some of the properties are not for sale. Some of these are not listed. Some of these you're not going to find on the website. And we're okay with that. But we do keep an inventory of properties that could be for sale, that a property owner might want to make a deal with somebody, but he doesn't want it advertised. They don't have a price, but they will if it's the right end user. So if anybody has any questions.
Without disclosing any companies, what kind of information are you receiving, request?
On RFIs,
Uh-huh.
50,000 square foot buildings are the biggest. We've got a lot of requests for 50,000 square foot buildings. So we wrote an EDA grant, $2.6 million to build one. We've got another application ready to go in for another one. We're working with 2 developers to possibly work with us on building as well. And then looking at our own inventory and see what we can do to rehab it, I guess, market it a little bit better. 20,000, 15 to 20,000 is really, I think, standard. That's what we saw a lot of in the beginning. I was surprised with the 50,000 square foot buildings.
Is that a hangar?
The hangar was 100,000. So the first hangar with MHI was already built, dedicated, and the second one's under construction. And then we just dedicated the 6th building for Aurora. So they will start breaking ground on that one soon too. So Boeing will be in 6 buildings here. So we really want land all over the county. We were at a trade show in Orlando in, I think it was October, November of just this last year. And while we were down there, we were with the state of West Virginia. Great partners to have. They do a lot of the marketing. They take a lot of the counties, all of us EDAs or EDOs to go down there. And then we have our own specific area information that we hand out. There was a gentleman that came back around on the second day, and he said, I looked at Kentucky, I looked at Oklahoma, and I see West Virginia, these states. Really surprised about how many technology and federal contract locations that you have, aviation, really advanced. Not super surprised because he thought we were rural, but really surprised in how many of them link and work together. He was there negotiating his final deal on a building and a location for his company in Orlando. Stopped over to the trade show because part of his company had a booth that was there and said, this is ridiculous. The prices have gone up every single month since we started this project. And he said, now to finalize this, he said, this can't be done. He said, went back to the company and said, do we have to be in Orlando? Well, there's no reason. Then why are we doing this? So he said, I'm a decision maker. I'm one of the ones that will sign this. And he said, when I go back to my board and explain it to them, made a few phone calls, if we don't have to be in Orlando, then why are we paying this? Could we go anywhere? We could. This is what you have to have. We'd have to be so close to an interstate. We'd have to be so close to this. We'd have to have this kind of land. Went through all of these. Came to each of the states. West Virginia, do you have all of these? Yes. How many of these do you have? Well, a lot of them. There's a lot of places in West Virginia. I'm going to pitch North Central. I'm going to pitch Harrison County. So I happened to be standing there and said, I would love to talk to you about some of the properties that we have. I'd love to talk to you about the incentives, quality of life, workforce, healthcare, everything. And he said, I'm good. I'm going to do some research and come back, which he did. He went back, he did his due diligence on West Virginia, came back and said, that's where I want to be. So let's talk. We set up the meeting with West Street Development Office. Not for sure that they're going to land in Harrison County, but he was given several different sites. He killed the deal in Orlando, so I feel bad for them, but not really bad because he didn't have to have that location and he didn't have to pay that. So it's now looking at, they do want to be here. We're not going after them as much as what we thought we'd have to years ago. They are coming to us. We want them here, but we need to have developable land. We need to have the properties. We need to have the buildings. We have to have our inventory. And that includes an office space if you have it. It might be 300 square feet. It might be a 5-story building. It might be a dilapidated building. It might be 10 acres. It might be an acre. It might be a garage. Whatever you have, it's going to fit at least one of the calls that we end up getting. I mean, we get some really odd calls. But they will call in and say, I just need 500 square feet and I need 6 parking spaces. That's odd. I have to run down through and think, okay, what do we have? So that's what we need from you all. We need your inventory.
Especially with time frames, sometimes we only have 24 hours, 48 hours to put together a package and submit to the state just for that request. And we'll be quick on submitting our properties to whoever it is that's looking for it.
Now, we discussed this last night. Now, the properties that are primarily in our industrial park, they're all ultimately listed, correct? I mean,
Correct.
You would have, okay, because, the one that I referred to is formerly the Universal Sales Building that, again, it's been vacant for probably 2 decades at this point. And then there's 2 other buildings that the other lady was talking about last night it would be on the eastern side, it would be off of our 3rd Street section. And those, but those at all, so they would definitely be already in the register. Okay.
In our inventory, yes. Now,
Yeah.
they may not be on the website. Some of the links that we have, we are directly linked to the state of West Virginia's economic development website, but they have a requirement and they have a minimum. We do not.
No, to follow up on that, for example, that Universal Sales Building, with it in the current shape that it's in, would that be something that would be, you just wait for somebody that would agree to develop that property?
Sometimes, yeah, we don't put it on the website. Something like that, we might keep in our inventory only. So when we do get a lead or a request for something, some of the owners don't want their property put on the website. They want us to keep it and market it. Use it as you need, call me if we need to. We've got a couple property owners and developers they have several properties and none of them on our website. So our board, talk a little about that. We used to have a 7-member board. We are now up to an 11-member board. And we changed our bylaws to include, to cover the whole county, a representative from the Mayor's Association. So the board is made up of county commission, we've got Clarksburg and Bridgeport, and then we also have private companies. Those private companies make up regular and charter members. So Shinston became one of the charter members. They actually paid to the point where they actually have a seat on the board. So for years, Pat Kowalczyk, as the mayor of Shinston, was the Mayor's Association appointee, but now Shinston has their own seat. You can still choose tonight to have Shinston, or you can choose to have someone from the rest of the county, since they already have their own seat. Not trying to knock them out, but I'm just saying, they already have a seat at the table. And some of the things that we are working with, we work directly with, like I said, the state of West Virginia. We work closely with our representatives, our senators. We have a lot of trips to DC or in Charleston on our projects. We do a lot of resources, and we do not lobby, but we market a lot. And then we have project committees, and those project committees are made up specific to the project. We have marketing committees, we have communication committees. Those are very, very detailed to the county. They're very detailed to the project. But they're made up of just board members.
It's awesome. Thank you. Jimmy, you want on that?
Honestly, I do, but right now it's too much. I mean, I got a full plate currently. Can I think about it?
Sure.
That is number 5 on our agenda.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And we do not want to exclude any of the communities. So whether you're on the board or not, we are more than willing to work with you. However, what your needs are, you just need to get those to us.
Thank you very much. At this time, we have Harrison County Commission President, Susan Thomas. Let me turn my back
I don't
out.
know where I'm staying, I don't know. I don't really know what all you want to hear. I mean, tell me what you want to know.
How's everything going?
It's slowly. I mean, we've got a building, an eyesore over here, I should say it that way. A nice building that we can't get in. The situation there is we have to put in a new gas line to the generator in order for it to work. So we probably won't be in that building until probably summer. I don't look to be in there before then. There's a lot of little issues that need to be taken care of over there. Of course, we're working on, we'd like to get, you mentioned the rail trails. We would love to get from P to P eventually. The subject came up today about the southern end of the county.
Redheaded stepchild.
No, but Dave, I don't disagree with what you said, because I've asked, why don't we have rock on, at least from Lost Creek back as far as we can get it? Believe me, I tried, because I've driven down there 2 or 3 times, and I look over there, because when that trail gets wet,
It's a mess.
it's gonna take a while for it to dry.
Well, and the thing is, and not to step on the parade here, we take care of it. I have man hours in that, and if a tree falls over, we take care of it, or, and it's, all we asked for was rock from the church to the end of the railhead.
And I personally, I'm speaking for myself.
Yeah, I know.
I don't want to speak on behalf of anybody. But because I use the trail.
Yeah.
I love the trail.
We got a lot of
What are you doing with the rail trail? Well, you just said. I mean, that's one thing they look for. But we're making small strides on that. We're getting there. We're going to build a new hopefully going to build a new animal shelter, animal control building, where the old one is right now. We are overrun, and it is old, and we definitely need a new building. So that's a project we have just begun not too long ago. So we are working on that. Of course, it's everybody's budget time season. So that's always a fun time.
What about the show barn?
Okay. Well, that's a big debate right now. Amy was there today, of where to put it. We're trying to get it somewhere, where it's accessible to, close to the interstate. We have property out on 279, and that's a sore subject with some people, that we could possibly use. but there's another piece that's come up. But I have worked closely with the Livestock Association since I was campaigning. They have a vision. They have a lot of energy. And I am excited about this. And I'm hoping and praying that we can make this come to fruition for them and for the county, because that will draw people. A lot of people may not think that, but I think we can maybe rejuvenate the 4-H program again. It's important for the kids. You don't know where they had their sale last year? Summit Park. Try to get a animal trailer in the Summit Park.
Great.
They managed to do it, and she already has doubled the number that she will have from this pasture. So, and they worked hard. They worked hard on what they're doing. They want to get the kids involved. But that's one thing that I'm passionate about and pushing for. And like I said, we own this property. I know that there'll be some dirt moving that will have to be done, but hopefully we can make it work. I just want to find a place for them, and that's what I've told them. If we can try to find some place for you that you all are happy with, and we can make this work together, let's do it.
Is filter out the question? Was that ever been talked about?
No, it's never been brought up.
Anything,
Not since I've been on the commission.
anything down our area or towards Salem with where the farming's at?
If you got some flat land where we can build a, what they say today, 200 by 100 or 100 by 100.
Yeah, we're going to expand.
Yeah, they want to expand. I mean, they
And
really.
they should be able to.
Yeah. Oh, I think so.
I was in 4-H, I was in FFA. They need to have not just the plan for one, but several. And I think it's about 40 acres.
Yeah, I think so.
So 20, I think, would be great to have.
I mean, if somebody knows of some reasonable property, or if somebody just wants a tax write-off and wants to give it away, I don't care.
Take what you can get.
Yeah, and like I said, it's fairly accessible. I mean, because there'll be trailers that they'll be haul pulling, and they want to someday bring horses. I'm going to say it wrong. Bring show horses in, and that's where that'll bring a lot of people and money, and that fills your hotels, your
Well, I
restaurants.
know Salem used to have the equestrian center there at the college, but
That is a thing of the past. That's all gone. That used to be up on the hill, just above Fort New Salem. And there was a wonderful facility there. In fact, that was a degreed program at one time when I was in college there. And then they built another barn over in Greenbrier, and it's gone by the wayside. So both those facilities are
We
gone.
are trying to bring it back with some of the agricultural buildings that we have and USDA, the agricultural commissioner, even with the mountaintop beverage in Morgantown with just dairy. Just the kind of spotlighting, they're pulling everything right now for dairies that they're gonna need for that from Maryland, Pennsylvania. And we're saying all the money that went into rooftop, that project, huge project in Morgantown, why not have the dairies out of West Virginia? Well, I don't know that we have many left. So they're looking at trying to revive those and asking anybody that wants to get into dairy farming, you know what if we teach you? What if we provide you the money and the training and the
Well, that's
ability?
what these kids I call. They want to teach. They want to teach these kids. It's like one of them says, he says, I want my work somewhere for my kids that my child can go.
Mhm.
And he's got two young kids.
That's an excellent point. At one of the last small farm conferences I went to in Huntington, and I heard the presentation, and there was only less than 200 dairies in the entire state at that time, and it was falling. And there's many others that have gone out since. But I was happy, and I know
They're
that.
still there, and they would love to go back and revive them. We still have one.
I don't remember one of mine.
Yeah.
We have one out
We used to
our
have.
way.
What's that?
We have a dairy around our way. Bowling.
It's locating those and reviving those, and if the owners still have them, what it would take the next generation to come back in with the training and a little bit of writing assistance.
We used to have Carnation processing plant right here in Harrison County.
Yeah, I remember that as a
They
kid.
gone by the wayside.
I lived above it.
It's work, do that. That's true.
We got a piece of property out there on the left-hand side as you get off the interstate where a church was gonna build. I don't know if it's worth looking at. The church couldn't build on it because of a gas line. They're trying to sell it.
How much property is it? I mean, I know where you're at, but I don't know.
I'm not sure what the acreage is. Do you, Kathy?
I mean, if anybody knows anything.
I mean,
Find out. I mean, reach out, please reach out.
I've been trying to deal with this preacher on that property to see what he wants for it. You know, if they do want to sell it, you know, I can find out how many acres it is easy enough and get him in touch with you. Huh?
I'll say it's probably a good 10 right there anyway.
I'd say at least 10 acres.
28.
Yeah, 10's a safe bet.
Yeah, 10's safe. Yeah, I'll send you the information on that. I'll send you his.
We're focusing right now on 279.
I mean, I'll send you his information. It's right there off the interstate. You know right where it's at. On the left-hand side there. It's coming
It's
into
flat.
Clarksburg. Huh?
And it's flat.
And it's flat. Yeah,
Are
relatively
you
flat.
marketing this flat piece?
Yeah, we got a 10-acre flat piece of ground out
Yeah.
there.
Jump on that, Amy.
Yeah, it's relatively flat. And it's
What about that area down there off the interstate too, where the Dairy Mart used to be back in there?
That belongs to, well, Hirschman has the Dairy Mart, but the other belongs to Tom McCormick back in there. Tom, I doubt if he might come off of it. But then again, you're in a flood zone right there too. That's the only trouble with it.
And utilities.
Huh?
Utilities seem to be a big issue for a lot of the pieces that we
Yeah.
have. Infrastructure and utilities.
But we're like we're going to 279, but that doesn't. I don't want to get too far into that.
Is there anything around the 4-H center that's here on 19?
Not that
Wonderful
I know.
facility.
Not that I know.
I showed cows in that place before.
No, but I mean, there should be enough land.
Barn.
The old
There's enough
barn.
land around to build.
Yeah.
You're not going to show the cattle in that.
Not now.
Oh, walking down the, well, no, I guess you can bring it down, right?
I know.
With all dinosaurs.
Yeah, with that big
Dinosaur.
dinosaur.
I know you probably don't have much influence about this, but what about a summer program for the kids, man? I tried last year to talk to the Park and Rec and get something going out of Lost Creek again. We had it years ago. We got a perfect place. We're in the process of getting the park in our name. And we're going to build it's in the future. We're going to try to build a restroom site there and water and all that in the little park by the Chamberlains. Last year they told me that they didn't have enough people to work it and they were going to do West Milford and I said, we got plenty of kids in Lost Creek. I said, how about running a small bus or something over and picking these kids up? I mean, I work at daycare. I know how many kids we got that are not coming to daycare that needs a place to go during the day to get a little bit more education or that type of thing.
Yeah, I'll see what I can
Yeah,
find out.
I'd appreciate it. You know me, I'm outspoken anyway.
I know, but I'm not gonna stand here and promise you that I can help.
No, I know.
Because I know last year they had trouble finding, they did have trouble finding.
Have to find help, yeah.
Kids don't wanna. get
Young
out
kids don't
behind
wanna
a
work
TV
anymore.
or a computer or a
Yeah.
phone. They stay up all night, sleep all day. Anything else?
Anybody have anything else for Susan?
I mean, you can holler at me.
On West Milford and Lost Creek, talking about combining their accounts.
Oh, are you?
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna make it, call it South Harrison. That way we cover the whole southern Harrison County. Because none of us got much, but we might meet, if we put it together, we might have something.
Meet in the middle, right?
Yeah, meet in the middle, that's something. We just try to get
You
along.
guys work together.
Yeah, we do.
We do.
That's good.
We do work together.
That's what, we all need to do
Thank you so much, Susan.
that. You're welcome.
Yes, Susan, thanks.
I guess that was my cue to sit in.
Number 3, discussion or reconsideration regarding the Harrison County Mayor's Association bylaws.
Yeah, I spoke to Mayor Lang today, and I think Ms. Wright has spoke to him in the past as well, just as an example. He has a conflicting meeting this particular day. And the bylaws currently state that the meetings are to be held on the second Wednesday? Is that
Second
correct?
Wednesday.
Yeah. And what we discussed is, could we maybe just put some discretion with the president of the association? That was kind of what we talked about, wasn't it? And kind of maybe rotate it.
Yeah, we can rotate it. We can do whatever we got to do, as long as we get more people to participate.
Right,
That's
and
the main
that's, and you know, and that's the thing, I mean, do you find a perfect day of the week? Probably not, but nonetheless, I mean, this sounds kind of spitballing here, but I mean, you almost do it by committee, just each month, you know, kind of send an email out to see what people's availability is, you know, majority rules, so to speak.
Yeah, that'd be fine. That'd be real fine, I think. Anything we can do to get more people to come in.
And I think if you empower the president to kind of have that authority to move it and shake it, it would probably be the easiest way to do it. Just a thought.
Was empowering that. But yeah, we can do that. I mean, we can switch times up or dates or
How
whatever
about
we
you
got
want
to
me
do.
put that in the form of a motion to make the amendment to the bylaw?
Sure.
Okay, I'm gonna make that motion then. Amend the bylaw to which end the president will make the determination of time and place of the meetings going forward.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passed. All right, next thing, number 4, consideration of issuing a letter of support on behalf of the Harris County Mayor's Association for the Piedmont Community and Technical College's new Aviation Maintenance Center.
I had included this in the packet. Our Economic Development Director, John Whitmore, had forwarded this on, and he thought it might be something for a letter of support, and he thought it may have a little bit more power if all the mayors went in together instead of each individual municipality. Maybe form a letter. There was an example of a letter in here, and I don't know if you all read that, but there was an example of a letter here, what they're asking for. They kind of done the letter for us, we just have to retype it. But I didn't know if you all wanted me to go ahead and prepare that and then have you to sign it on behalf of the Mayor's Association.
Or we can have all the mayors sign it, if you
Or
think
have
that
all
would be
the
better.
mayors sign it, whatever you
Whatever,
want.
yeah. What's the pleasure of the group? Is that what everybody wants to do?
I'll make a motion, we sign.
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Sounds good. We already did number 5. Now we'll go to comments by mayor's, discussion of concerns and or future topics. Lost Creek, you want to start?
Oh,
What do we got going on Lost Creek?
I've already said my say-so to the commission, so I'm probably deep. Yeah, I'm deep in doo-doo anyway.
No.
No, I like what you said about the inventory list. I made a note, and I'm gonna go back to the office probably the first of the week and look up some property and what we have around there. There's a woman that has an old Dairy Mart that she's wanting to sell. You know, that might be something I tried myself. I sent an email to Parmar. I never received anything back, of course, but I sent an email telling them what was available, not thinking about maybe I should go through you first. But yeah, we're just trying to, again, get the money for the parking lot and the drainage system, and it's a process longer than I have patience for.
You wanna go into the grant you're applying for the vacant houses?
Well, we got a little behind on that. I think Salem and Buchanan got ahead of us, and what it was, it's a grant from the state that they will give you money to help tear down houses,
That's right.
correct? And I filled out the paperwork I thought I needed to fill out, but we, as Lost Creek, didn't have everything in place that we needed. We needed an ordinance about abandoned houses. We need to have money in the bank to show good faith, which now we got money in the bank. We're in the process of putting an ordinance together to get that done. I'm not a patient man. It takes, I think, and take this back to Sooner Ranch. It takes way too long of a process to get some of these houses tore down or make the owners responsible for tearing them down. I've been dealing with one. Here we go. And you shouldn't have got me started. I've been dealing with one for two and a half years since I've been mayor. The trouble is, the people that own the house, they know exactly what they can get by with. There's got to be a process in place where we can say, okay, your house is falling down. It's bad for the neighborhood. It's vacant. You know, you're going to end up getting sued when some kid goes in there and gets hurt.
Are they up on their taxes?
They're up on their taxes.
Oh, yeah, we have one of those.
They're up on their taxes. That's the problem. They're up on their taxes. They can spend money everywhere else, but the town has to take the responsibility to get it condemned, have the money in the bank to get it tore down, put a lien on the property, and then what do we end up with?
Nothing. Nothing.
Do what?
Buy it from the auditor, if it goes on a tax.
Yeah, if it goes, but they're not gonna let it go. That's the problem. They're good on paying taxes, but they're not good at the responsibility of taking care of the property. We will never, ever sell that piece of property is what I've been told.
Well, the state level needs to pass some stronger laws about abandoned property.
Yes.
Who is your, the updated building codes, is that something that they work with you on that? Because I know the exact program we're talking about. John King at West Virginia DP gave me a whole, like, instruction on how it's supposed to work, to help you get the buildings out of there. And they say that you have to have the things you mentioned, like a program for enforcing, like the kind of buildings you can't accept, and then the code enforcement to do it, and then you mentioned like this GIS mapping, which is some way that they figure out they load it all into like a big website, and they figure out how much money you're losing every year on the fact that you have a property that cannot draw revenue for the town.
Right.
But have they worked with you at all on that piece of it?
The only thing we've done is no. Simple answer, no. We've got the international building codes in place. We got an inspector, a code enforcement officer. We've got everything in place. It's just, even the code enforcement officer, Vincent, and a lot of people use him around here, he will tell you it's just not a simple form of doing it.
No.
Yeah, it's frustrating. And the problem is, the people know the system.
Well, I hear that a lot of places. I'll get you John King's contact information, because he is the West Virginia DEP guy that is handling implementation of the program.
All right.
He mentioned like Preston, Kingwood, Barber, Grafton. I hadn't heard Salem.
Lost Creek.
Yeah, or Lost Creek, but like they sent you a survey, you all got a survey, and you're supposed to fill out a survey of what buildings you had that overlap.
I did.
We've done that.
Okay.
I did.
It's same guy, same program. I'll give you his contact info. He might be able to help you, either find other people in the state that would help you with these little chunks, or maybe just explain it better. Maybe you've done everything and it's just like a waiting game at this point, but I'll get you that.
I think it was on the agenda on Monday.
Okay.
And then tomorrow at 3:00, Senate Bill 548. for delinquent properties, limiting those entitled to bid. So there's several discussions they've had, so they had one, I think it was on Monday, one is tomorrow at 3, and then I think next week. This is for the Senate.
What committee is it?
Judiciary.
Yeah, there's like SB 368, SB 722 provided the money, and SB
Well,
552
I
was
talked to
the
Rodney
bill.
yesterday, and he said that the DEP sent out some applications not too long ago. I don't know if you all received anything.
I think we see.
I mean, I don't think.
We did.
I got the form that they sent out for us to fill out. Was that,
The audited.
I think it had to be filled out in November.
Yeah, no, well, that's
Yeah.
what this is. Like, this is the,
Well, I just think
yeah,
it's,
the program that McCluskey started, if I'm saying that name right. Yeah, so
It's due
the
process.
DEP doesn't wanna like fight about it, but they're like, we actually kind of started it, he's just out getting a lot of credit for it, but yeah, it's like, there's $10 million in the program, I think it came from, CARES Act money, maybe? It's either ARPA money or CARES Act money, but it got funded that way, and then it gets doled back out. Yeah, so, anyway, I'll get that info, it might help.
No, JD actually was up here Friday, or
Monday.
Monday.
But 2.5 years is the average time to take a house down.
I don't have
I mean,
patience.
that's realistic. 2.5 years, there's some of these that we have that we're gonna take down here real soon. They're gonna go down here probably in the next couple of weeks. And we have been working on those, 5 years plus. And it's just a due process.
I know.
And you have to be legally, they have to be cleared and ready to go.
And no,
The
your
shortest
inspectors
one-
are inspectors, so
The shortest one, in terms of time frame, was a house that was basically given to the city of Salem for other than paying for the recording fee, and then doing the asbestos abatement, taking it down, and putting it in a landfill. That took about 6 months for all
Well,
that. That's short.
the cost we got for this, because it doesn't have any asbestos in it, we already went through that process, of finding out if it's got asbestos in it, is approximately, Vince says approximately $20,000.
Yeah.
Small town Lost Creek,
That's a lot.
that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money to us.
Well, and we just feel like the owners are just sitting back and waiting patiently, thinking, we're just gonna throw it on the city, but then we're gonna come back and do something with our property.
And we've had them in, honest God, we've had them into the building and in front of the code enforcement officer 3 times. Each time she promises that she's gonna do something, but nothing's ever done. But we have no way of enforcing anything. No way of really, we can fine her, but it's a limited amount what we can fine her. Is she
Right.
gonna pay that fine?
No.
If she doesn't pay the fine,
You
all
can-
we can do is put a lien on the
Yeah,
property.
you can affect the lien to the
Huh?
you can affect the lien to the property.
That's
which
it.
time
But what
ever
good does that
changes.
lien do?
What's
Well,
that
if it
do?
changes hands,
Yeah.
then it will
If it
have to be
changes
paid.
hands, but-
They don't want it.
You know.
You know, ours come before the commission.
That's the way it is.
We give them some time, and if they don't, we take it to circuit court. But it's still a process.
Yeah,
It's
it
still,
is.
I'm with you, Dave, I understand the.
So you shouldn't have asked me a question, Todd.
Well,
I appreciate it. I'm off my horse now.
Okay, you off of it now?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. Stonewood, you got anything? I was gonna comment on, did you all get the email from Travis?
2471.
2471 regarding 2471, did you get that from Travis from the municipal league?
Yes.
Okay, and I reached out to a couple of folks. 2471, the 2 local delegates that are on Jadish are Marple and Kimball. And I'd asked the folks to, I got it. I'd asked the folks to kind of leave messages on their voicemails and whatnot to tell them that we were supporting that. What this will do, and I looked it up, I looked the code up today. It'll restore the authority that the
municipal court had in the past for suspensions. That being said, it'll be a suspension of license after 6 months. Now, here's what I recommend if they get this through, what I recommend is talk to the police chiefs and ask them to make sure that they process the offenders on first and second for miscellaneous. They have to process them. They've got to fingerprint them and they've got to do the CDR. Because if they don't, you never establish the first two offenses. Therefore, third offense on miscellaneous is a jailable offense, but the first two are not. In fact, the first two, unfortunately, are the same penalty. The first two, for first and second offense, it's $100 to $500 fine, which is really a crock because they're suspended for unpaid citations. You're going to write them another ticket? Come on. So that's how that works. The point is, if you could encourage the police chiefs to give orders to have them to process the first and second offenses. And that way they can establish the third now and preferably run them through the magistrate court so that the municipal court doesn't have to pay the fee for the jail. And then on the DUI, sorry, Susan, I had to do that. And then what it amounts to is on the third offense, it's a mandatory 30 days to 90 days, and it's $150 to $500 fine on that one. Then on the revoke for DUIs, those are a little easier because they're a minimum 30-day mandatory on the first offense. So the DUI, the revoked is not as big a concern as the suspension is. So the suspension on the miscellaneous, if you can get the chief to put an order out on that, I think that would help. Again, I don't know how successful they're going to be. Several of us called enough messages on Mrs. Kimball and Mr. Marple's phones. So hopefully they can get that through. It'd be a beginning, a little start, and again, reinstate some of that. I understand they don't want jail time because it costs, but it's just every town's got this, they've got this debt that, this owed money that's unbelievable. And it's just near impossible to collect. You don't have anything to chase them with.
Yeah, that was the worst part about it. They paid their fine, everything, they're fine, but they don't pay their fine, they don't get anything. They don't get anything. You can't suspend their license.
And again, Todd, I understand that the officers are frustrated with processing them. I understand that they're not wanting to process them. I get that because there's no jail time, but that's the only way they're going to establish the enhancement is if they do that. But if not, it's just going to be first offense forever. So that's all I have.
So let's cut short. When we have same dilapidated property as everybody else, but we have a unique situation. Is one, we have a vacant house that has a $65,000 Department of Justice lien on it from a bank robber. The house is vacant, it's fallen in, so we're going to have to do something with that because it's creating a safety issue in the town. But with a $65,000 lien, the Department of Justice, it doesn't help us any. And I'm just wondering if that was a lien of what they weren't able to collect from the robbery.
Most likely.
But it's fallen down. The soon it's going to be down. I mean, it's going to save us that way. If it does fall down, we don't have to tear it down, but we're going to have to pick up the debris because it's going to create a nuisance with rats. And
Have you seen the lane, Jim?
it's on.
Is it recorded?
It's recorded.
How long's it been? How old is it?
When was the robbery at Salem at the bank? 2
Oh, it's
years?
pretty new.
Probably three,
Three?
probably around three.
I think he got a 20-year sentence.
Yeah. But the wife left it. They had an $18,000 lien to the bank. Department of Justice came in and put a $65,000 lien on it now. Is there something the senator can help us with to get that removed? And
I bet there is. I'm just not exactly sure who will handle it. Do you mind if I call you?
That's fine.
And actually, and I'll give you that form I brought because if they make an inquiry to Department of Justice, then we would need this. If I can just make a couple phone calls, and you can just like take a picture and scan it back, like on behalf of the town, but just Department of Justice and, there's a lien on a dilapidated property that is hindering, town functioning at this point. So.
Yeah.
Anything else, Jeff? Salem?
Oh, let's see, we are going to start a water project here in the near future, if everything goes well. We did receive a small cities block grant, so I'm very happy with that. And hopefully we can even expand that project and take care of more water lines. Something that's badly needed in the community. Even though we received grants in the past, yet we have a substantial water loss, and we need to take care of it. And we also need to do upgrades to the sewer system, and we did apply for it. It was a $10 million that Jeff Petrie did apply for in Region 6. We were turned down, but we need to find other options and take care of that. That is a major stopper to Salem in terms of economic development, because we cannot add anyone into that system that's new. You can go back to vacant property where we tore down a house and put a house back there, and that's fine. You can put those in. But we can't add anything new to that system. And it's really been the stopper to economic development in our region.
Because we got some good possibilities, good places.
We have
with it.
We have potential.
Yeah.
There's some potential.
Now, you make your water, right?
No,
You got yours?
we buy that from Clarksburg.
So you're in the same boat we're in. Yeah. Go ahead back there in the corner.
Well, our water loss, I think, was 67% last month.
Oh.
And, you apply, they deny you, and they keep, well, anyway. But, we're, 19 months into our water project. We passed our first reading for to raise rates. And our public meeting will be, in March, and that'll be interesting because, citizens won't want to up that. But I do have a question. I don't know if anyone has been through this. So we're coming up on election season again. And so I saw who put their petitions in to run. One particular person I know does not live in Anmore. They live in Eastview. So how do you go about proving that someone does not live in your town, but they're using their father's address? How do you do that? I'm just asking. Anybody ever had to do?
We got the same thing.
Okay,
We had the same thing too.
Somebody can challenge that.
How do you prove that? Do you prove that with a
Have you
PO
seen, have you
box?
found out if that person's registered, actually, where that person's actually registered?
Uh-huh.
That would be your first.
Registered to vote? Okay.
If he's registered to vote, and if they have a registered mailing address there with their name on it.
Okay. And so you can do that? Okay.
Yeah, that's a public record.
Okay. All right.
But I've had that before, actually, I had that say.
So if
Yes,
that's-
you did. Yes, indeed.
Okay, so if that's found out that she lives in Eastview instead of Anmore, then does that mean you?
Can I say something? You might want to call the Secretary of State.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm not saying anything else.
had to, I mean, because I'm sorry, that's like fraud, right? Lying?
Close.
Okay, Secretary of State's office.
They're not. Call Secretary of State's office.
Okay, Secretary of State's office, okay, thank you.
Just tell you now.
One
Go ahead.
more thing, we're in the final countdown to take down 3 houses. So very happy about that. In the final 10-day notice, we're coming to the end of that
They'll be done by the
10-day
end of the
notice.
month.
So hopefully,
Right.
here
They
by
might
the
be
end
done
of
by
the
the
month, we'll be
21st or
down.
so.
And that was out of the state grant money for the demolition. But the rest of this we've done ahead of time. It's been out of our own money.
Yeah, that's the same way in town of West Melbourne, we've had to eat a couple of them already.
And it's expensive.
Oh, it is. I mean, when you're thinking $40,000 for a small town, that is, half the gross product we have all year.
Yeah, to add to that, we were extremely fortunate. Recently, and I put all the thanks to our city attorney, Joe Schaefer. We had this dilapidated property, and he totally untied the juggernaut. And we probably altogether had, we may have had shy of $10,000 counting the lien to the funeral home that we had to satisfy. But unbelievably, we got 27.5 out of it, and it was
That's good.
it was a property that we had to take the house down, and we had to pay for an asbestos inspection. Only had to remove parts of it and so on. But we did really well with that. But he must have crossed a dozen state lines just getting folks to acknowledge it and pass it on and so on. And the bank or the lending institution realized that there was no way in the world they were ever going to get anything. And we were going to start charging them. So we kind of turned it around on them for the grass cutting and the dilapidated property and stuff of that nature, things of that nature. So, but we were very fortunate and did real well with it. But they're hard, they're few. You
It
get one
is.
of those and there's a dozen that you can't do that with.
And you can't tear them all down.
Wish.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the town of West Melbourne's been dealing with that. We're in our water project, we're working on it. And we're have to redo a rate hike from it. And I guess we have another rate hike coming in from Clarksburg.
Yes.
So we'll have to go on top of that. So we'll make our people real happy.
Sure.
Do you? Other than that, we have we are redoing the float to Fork this year. Anybody wants to come participate in our float from Good Hope to West Milford? It's about a 5-mile trip down the West Fork. And we're going to have entertainment, and we're going to have at our new park we're putting together. And we're trying to we had 256 people last time we had the float.
That's good.
Wow. 256 boats. So we're hoping to do that again this year. That was before COVID. This is after COVID, so we'll see. But we're just trying to get something going, trying to do what we can do. That's about all we can ask. That's about all we can do. Is just try to do something. Does anybody else have anything else?
Did anybody receive the email from the Municipal League about a bill? And I don't know how much traction it's garnered, but it was going to repeal the municipality's authority to issue business licenses. Did you
It's
see
supposed to
that?
occur at 9:15 this morning, but I haven't seen it.
I don't know where it got, if it got to the committee or where, but I kind of thought that's something we all better keep an eye on, because that won't only impact that part of the budget, but the collection fee notice.
Yeah, if they do weather, there'll be a no, we'd be in big trouble. I mean, for a little town, that's all we got.
Yeah, I took our yearly figure last year, what we collected, and I sent it to Laura Kimball, and I sent it to Keith Marple, and said if we lose that, and grant you, we're a small town, if we lose that, I'm going to end up cutting some employees and some other services that we offer, so we lose that B and O.
Who's gonna do it? Are they not gonna require? I mean, I should.
What's that?
Are they not gonna require, who's gonna do the licensing? Are they not gonna require?
They're not gonna
State.
require the state will do it, yeah, the state will, yeah. Yeah, the state,
They
yeah.
said that they would make it right with the small towns.
Yeah.
There you go.
That was the word we got.
Is that the first
But
time?
don't worry, we're gonna figure something out and we're gonna make it right with the small towns. It's gonna
We got
lose
all this surplus, we got plenty of money.
$50,000 is what we would lose. That was last year's total.
That's a lot.
No, that's,
Yeah, for
I'm
small
telling you,
towns.
that's, that may not seem a lot to a huge town, but to us, it's,
Half our GDP. Yeah.
I just fold up and West Milford and Lost Creek become one town. Take in Hampton Meadows and the school.
Several
Get some
years,
B&O out of them.
Huh?
We'll get some B&O out of them.
Yeah.
several years ago, we passed an ordinance, I think it's 3 years ago, maybe a little bit longer, that we would exempt any new business 1 year to come to the community and open up. And I think that's, in a sense, has helped.
Well, that's fair.
It's
but,
fair to them.
I mean,
It
it's
gives
fair to them.
an Opportunity to run an entire cycle
Yeah.
and to see how their finances.
But think
are
about
in that
if
period of time.
if you got the dollar store out there. Think
Right.
about, and I'm not sure what agreement you have with them, but think about the B&O that you would lose from that dollar store.
Oh,
You
yeah.
would lose from the pharmacy. I'm more familiar with the pharmacy. If you'd lose from the pharmacy, I mean, I love being mayor of a small town, and I truly love the challenges. But Washington needs to know about these challenges instead of giving us words, we need action. I mean, I heard a speech last night, I wanted to cry, but we need action. I mean, you can say all you want, and locally, we all try to help each other, but when Washington or Charleston doesn't say, like doing away with the B&O. I don't know what it would cost West Milford. I'm telling you, last year it was $49,700 some dollars for the town of Lost Creek is what we collected. And we don't have, that's businesses coming in, doing bread. Here we go. I'm on my soapbox again, But there's an we're urgently needing help.
She asked who started the ideas that no one knows? The municipality league was the email?
The West Virginia Municipal League.
Yeah, it came from
Yeah, it came from them, and they're trying to let everybody know, hey, what's going on right now down in
How's the
Charleston.
delegates on the bill?
Huh?
Who's on the bill?
No one for us.
Yeah,
No, there was
yeah,
nobody,
anymore.
there was nobody on that committee from us. Marple wasn't on it, Kimball wasn't on it. Mm-mm.
Now,
I
Michael,
can look at it. I mean, I have no idea. The one, it's sounding very similar to the general aviation airports are just freaking out because the state came in and said that they were gonna cut, air fuel tax, like fuel tax in half. And there seems to be no rhyme or reason to the fact that the federal government will send aid to the state with a 5% local match and a 5% state match. And that local match and state match has always been paid out of the fuel tax. So when they cut the fuel tax, they're not gonna have money for their matches, which then the federal government takes away the money that the airports are getting. So, I mean, it sounds very similar to that, like if some random idea came from somewhere that they would cut that tax, but it seems unclear that they followed through where that money was being used.
This is House Bill 2842, and it went into committee this morning, subdivision committee this morning at 9:15. Said the bill was to repeal municipalities' ability to require or issue municipal business license.
Who's responsible? Does it say?
What scares me about that is when they say, oh, we'll make it up some way. I haven't seen, I've asked for stuff in writing,
You can't get it.
Carl Martin out of Upshur County.
Show me how you're gonna make it up. put it in front of me and say, you know, this is how we're gonna make your money up. Don't just say,
Yeah, because they'll never do it.
no, it'll never happen. I'm done, I'm sorry. I'm
So you're off your box again?
Sorry, everybody.
Okay.
We love your passion.
I'm pretty long-winded
We love
too.
Okay, we're gonna go for date and time of the next meeting. We don't want it on the Wednesday. What were you thinking?
Well, let's see. So the Wednesday, the second Wednesday was the issue, so, are folks comfortable with the that day of the week or not? I mean, I know a lot of council meetings are on, what, Tuesdays? Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So Wednesday's kind of the day, and most people probably don't want to do Friday. Well, the 15th would be the following week. Is that something folks want to look at?
We're good. We're good.
Yeah, I'm good with that, if you want me back.
The 15th.
15th of March.
That's what I'm thinking, and that may enable Mayor Lang.
15 March sounds good for me.
What
How about
date
you?
is that?
Does that work?
Yeah.
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
And that you gonna be available?
Well, can I make a statement?
Yeah.
I've thoroughly enjoyed working for this association. And I've been here since 2010, and it's been great. I've met so many wonderful people, made so many great friendships. But unfortunately, we have so much discord right now in our own city that the stress it's putting on the city clerk's office is almost impossible to keep up with. So if you know of a clerk or recorder who would like to take this over, I would gladly hand it over, along with all the notes, the minutes, newspaper clippings, everything that I've kept, the bylaws, anything that is involved with this organization, I have, and I will gladly pass that on to somebody else, and I'll make sure all the minutes are caught up, so they'll be ready to go, but I'm to the point where I need to kind of back out now. I don't have the full support of my council, so
You got your hands full.
I've got my hands full.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Yep.
Kathy, what are you doing?
Kathy's busy, I'm sorry.
What about Jeff?
Joni,
Huh?
I'm
Joni,
not a clerk or a recorder.
don't need to be, just an association.
But we definitely will check in on that and
Yeah.
kick it around and see if we can find somebody to take your spot.
Yeah.
We'll hate to see you go.
Thank you. Like I said,
Absolutely.
it's
Thank
been
you.
a
You've
privilege.
been a
to work
great
with you.
help.
Thank you for your time.
We do appreciate you too. It's
Thank you.
just,
It's truly sad.
yeah,
Thank
we,
But I will do March. I'll go ahead and do March. But if we could start looking for somebody, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
How's the pay?
Taking up collection.
I like the county commission pay, right? Oh,
Well, if nobody has anything else, we're gonna adjourn this meeting.
So move.
so moved.
Thank everybody for coming.
Thank you, all the guests.